Hey gang, I hope everything's going well. I hope that we are enjoying the story that we're working on The Sidewalk Bleeding, and that we're working through the plot analysis well. Yesterday we talked about initial incident and we talked about the antagonist. And you guys were to make some choices and do some work on that. We're not going to go over that until Friday. On Friday we'll go over everything. But right now I just want you guys using your own thoughts and your own ideas to get those things down and see what you can do. Today, we're just going to do the next page. We're not going to go on to climax and resolution and following action. We'll do that Thursday, okay? We'll do all of that tomorrow. So, today, we're just going to do that page on notice and note. Okay, so what you're trying to do is when we did notice and note for our independent novels, the reason why we do that is because it's an effective way to look at stories. What are the types of things we're actually looking for when we read a story? That's what those notice and note sheets are about. Okay, so I'm not going to get you to fill out the notice and note sheets. I'm just going to get you to think back to the signposts, the things that we've learned, the things that we're looking for, and try to think of two things that in the rising action of the story build suspense, make us more interested, draw us in as readers. Okay, so really quickly, I just want to go over what the 6 signposts are so that you know them. They're going to be there on the wiki as well. I'm going to have them written with, a really short description, but want to make sure that we all know what we're looking for. So we're looking for two of these things in the story. Okay, the first one is words of the wiser. These aren't in any particular order, but words of the wiser. So words of the wiser is someone giving advice. So if you can find a spot in the story where someone gives advice to someone else, and it's coming from somebody with authority. It's not just an exchange between people who are equal. Words of the Wiser usually have somebody in it who's lived through something, who's who's who is considered to be somebody that should be listened to and respected, and the scene should allow for that. So is there one of those in the story? Um, the other thing is, the next one is again and again, which is simply repetition. When we read stories, we look for things that are repeated again and again. Repetition is important. So if we see anything that's being repeated in the story, we're going to say what it is, and we want to explain why we think it's important. Okay? So remember what we did with those sheets. Sometimes we always found a quotation. So find it, put a brief quotation, and then explain why it's important to the story. The next one is contrast and contradiction. Contrast and contradiction is really about character development. It's when you have a character who starts out in a certain way. We establish what this character is like, and then somewhere in the story they do something different, something that doesn't match their character behavior. And the reason why that happens is because something's changed. Something's changed about who they are, about what they believe. So we're looking for this character development. And again, we want a quote that proves it, and we want to be able to say, why is this character changing all of a sudden, and how does that add to the plot of the story? Okay, number 4, aha moment. The aha moment is that key place in the story when a character realizes something. Something becomes clear to them. Maybe it's something that's been clear to the reader all along, and now it's become clear to the person in the story. When you get in higher grades or even university, you just still look for this in stories. They'll call it maybe an epiphany, right? It's like that light bulb that goes on in cartoons. Like, I've thought of something, and that's going to change the course of the plot. And that might lead to that contrast and contradiction we just talked about, where a character changes who they are. The next one is, number 5, is a memory moment. So a memory moment is not something new that's come to the character. It's something from the past. It's when a character flashes back. So it's a flashback. We see this in movies. We see this in books. We see this in TV shows. Anything that's a flashback, you have to ask, well, why'd the author have us go back in time all of a sudden? Our story is going this way, and now all of a sudden we're going back and looking at something. So Memory moment, find a quote, find a place when somebody's looking back in the story. See if that's in this story. There are some, I'll give you, this one is there quite a bit. So find a place and explain, well, why is that important? And the last one is sometimes a little tough for students. It's the one that we call tough question. Tough question doesn't have to be a literal question. That's why students get mixed up on it. It's a dilemma. It's a dilemma. It's when a character really has choices to make, but they're not. It's not an easy choice. No matter which direction they go, things aren't going to be great, right? There's some sort of problem. So we have those choices in life, right? We have to think. No matter which direction I go here, it's going to be tough. That's what we're looking for with the tough question. Okay, so those are your 6 notice and note signposts. You need to find 2. I just want you to find 2. I want you to make sure that you have a quotation for them to prove that it's there. Explain, really quickly what it is, and then why is it important to the plot? How does it add to the suspense? How does it help the rising action keep moving? Okay, tomorrow we'll come back. We'll talk about climax and resolution. But for today, that's it. 2 notes to note signposts. See you guys. Bye-bye.